I signed up to do a master's degree in leadership at the University of San Diego in 1999, 2 years into my position as WD-40. Now I can remember the first cohort, and this was actually the first cohort of that program. And I can remember the first meeting and they said, "Why are you here?" So what do you mean? She said, "You're a CEO, why do you need to be here?" I said, "Because I need to confirm what I think I know and learn what I don't know. And we have a dream and I want to try and build a culture in an organization where people can step into the better version of their self and they can go home happy and we can make a difference in people's lives, because it's more than just business. We have a responsibility to help people have better lives." So I went to school. And there was something that was said at WD-40 Company, he goes to school on the weekend, learn it on Sunday, implement it on Monday. So I did. I was fortunate enough that I could learn this stuff, and then I'd come and start to test it, and I'd see what worked, and if it worked, we'd do more of it, and if it didn't work, we'd do less of it. But it was so much fun as we went through this learning and how I got a real appreciation of what it was to be a servant leader as best I could be. The final class in this program, the capstone one in that time, was a summary strategy class. And our professors said to us, what we would like you to do is see if you could take everything that you've learned over these 2 years and put it into a business model that you would then be able to go and broadly execute in any business. And I thought, I think I can do that. Now, you've often maybe heard me say, those that have been around, that I've often introduced myself as, "G'day, I'm Gary Ridge, I'm consciously incompetent, probably wrong and roughly right," which is truly what I am. In most circumstances, I'm probably wrong and roughly right. I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, and if I'm the smartest person in the room, I'm in the wrong room. So that's what's clear. So I put together a model, and this is it. And in fact, this used to hang outside the office down in our old building down in Cudahy, and up until I took it down, it was in the cave upstairs. And this was my final presentation. It said, there are three things you need in business to be successful. And they were passion and people and products. And the top part of this is you have to have a clear vision, you have to have a clear set of values, you have to be dedicated to learning. And the bottom part of this was you have to have good strategy and be great at executing. And of course, you have to be a business or an organization that was all about learning. And that's where the learning moment was born. I was the birther of the learning moment. And the definition of the learning moment, as you know, is to have a situation where you learn something new, positive or negative, and share it with others. So we started on this track. Now, fortunately, it's been updated over time, and now it's simply this. And this has stayed in place as when I was here, the business model of what we do as an organization. The four things you need are people, purpose, passion, and products. You have to have people, and that's where the tribal concept was born. You have to have a purpose. Why do we get up every day? What's our why? We have to have a set of values that protect us and set us free. This thing that I call the typhoon zone, which is about strategy and execution, is very, very important. You have to have a great strategy that people understand, and you've got to be bold at executing. But what my observation is, most organizations get out of balance with the amount of emphasis they put on planning and strategy versus the emphasis they put on building a great place where people go to work, having a clear purpose, and having a set of values. So I call that the typhoon zone, because if you get out of balance and spend too much of your time in that zone, you'll actually not create a high will of the people, which is what we have at WD-40. And then there, of course, is the learning moment. And then this sits on 4 pillars of care, candor, accountability, and responsibility. Now, this is the model that we've been working to for 25 or so years.